Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, gonna go over a story titled, Am I the A-hole for telling my friend she's reaping what she sowed? And guys, this story is all from the perspective of a friend of this couple, where this married couple, the woman out of the blue tells her husband that she wants to have an open relationship, open marriage, where she could have the freedom to go out and date and do whatever she wants with whatever guy she wants. And as you can imagine, the guy isn't exactly thrilled about this, okay? And the woman claims pretty much that she loves him so much, but she's not fulfilled. So the only way that their marriage is going to last if he has her blessing to go do this. And like a lot of guys in stories like this, because they don't know any better and they're weak, he goes along with this. And then you're going to see what happens, how she reacts when, guess what, he starts actually going out with other women. Doesn't go too well over her. And the friend, of course, points out that, hey, says to her, you reap what you sowed, because she has a meltdown over this, okay? It was her idea, and it was all fine and dandy until the guy actually, because it's easy for a woman. A woman is remotely, she's average looking, just not too bad looking, kind of cute, whatever. She can get guys. And the woman here is 30 years old. So, I mean, she's 30, but still, you know, as long as she's thin and maybe has some long hair, and she can get guys. But all of a sudden, she's not having as many guys in the picture because she's busy. She has a complete meltdown, freaks out in the guy, the whole 9 yards. You want to talk about BS here. So anyhow, guys, I'm going to get into this story real quick. And it's always funny to me when I go, every once in a while, I do a story like this, and it's always the same thing. The woman, it's her idea. The guy goes along with it, and then she's all fine with it until he starts dating other women, or actually finds one he really likes. Then she wants to end the whole thing and has a meltdown, and I love you, and all that other bullshit. And many of you guys have been following me have heard some of the stories I've gone over. So, jumping into it, it starts off. At the beginning of quarantine, my friend Bella, who is a 30-year-old female, proposed an open marriage to her husband Mike, a 28-year-old male. The timing was off, obviously, but she had thought about it a lot and said that it was the only way for her relationship with Mike to survive because she loved him dearly but felt unfulfilled. Loved him dearly? No, she didn't. If she truly loved this guy, then she wouldn't need an open marriage. At the very least, would try to work it out so she could feel fulfilled. Okay? But given the selfish environment that we are right now, I'm not at all surprised by this. Probably she knew some people that were talking about this. Maybe some single friends put these ideas in her head. Maybe reading about it online. Who knows? But, but I love you. That's what she says. Bullshit. She says that it was the only way for her relationship with Mike to survive because she loved him dearly but felt unfulfilled. Mike hesitantly agreed because he didn't want to lose her. When I asked him about it, he seemed very much not thrilled about the whole thing. So guys, understand this. He obviously didn't want to lose her. So that's why he went along with that. That's always the case when I do these stories where the guys go for this idea. Okay, they don't want to go along with it. They certainly don't want some dude hooking up with their wife. But they're so fearful, they have such a scarcity mindset and have such low value themselves, they go along with this. Guys, never do this. Ever. For you guys that are in relationships or married and your wife suggests this, it's over, okay? The second she mentioned it, it's over, okay? The fact that she actually wants to have other dudes, well, it says everything. And if the guy goes along with this, not that she had much respect left for the guy anyway, but that level of disrespect will take a whole new lower level if he actually goes along with this. I mean, think about that, right? If you propose this, if you're married and you propose this idea to your wife and she goes along with it, are you going to respect her? No. Now, the only time I see this as potentially being all right is if both people 100% are on the same page. Let's just say they're very open-minded and spirited when it comes to things in the bedroom. Let's just say prior to actually getting married or being in a relationship, they're very, very free, so to speak, free spirits, and they're on the same page. Okay, that's one thing. But if one wants to do this and the other one doesn't, and the other one goes along with this, what does it say? And also, guys, when it comes to from men and women, when a guy goes along with something, with a woman's idea, and he doesn't want to do it, but he's doing it to make her happy, even though she knows that he doesn't want to do this, that will make her lose more and more respect for him because he's not acting like a masculine man. Okay? He's being submissive, and he is basically being, let's be honest here, he's being her bitch. Okay? So that's it. But he goes along with this, but interestingly, it comes back to bite her in the butt. Goes on, as his backstory here is that Bella and Mike have known each other since middle school, but only started dating in college, at which point Bella had a lot more experience in relationships. Well, that's the author here's way of saying Bella had a lot more experience on the carousel than Mike, which is obviously the normal situation. Most women are going to have a lot more partners than your average guy because it's easy. Your average gal can literally hold up a sign that says free you-know-what, and if she's remotely good-looking, there'll be a line of dudes down 5 city blocks. But a good-looking guy can hold up a sign saying free you-know-what, free sausage, and he's not going to have nearly the line of women lining up. Okay? Guys cannot beat women in that department. It says, Mike has told me he's always felt like he is one step behind her in most things, but their marriage really worked, and he was very happy with her. Well, maybe he was happy with her, but she obviously wasn't happy with him. And look, she's 30 years old, and he's 28, so they can't have been married that long, but already she's unfulfilled. At 30 years old, it doesn't say they got married, but come on here. It says, well, during the quarantine, the two of them became even closer than they had ever been before. I think Mike didn't expect Bella to actually go through with the open relationship idea that she had proposed. But around 3 months ago, she brought it back up again, and they settled on some rules together. Let's try this again. More like she came up with the ground rules, and he just reluctantly nodded his head and went along with it. That's what really went. There was no they set up ground rules. No. Cut forward to 1 hour ago, and she says it's way past midnight here when Bella calls me crying, saying Mike cheated on her. I'm all question marks at that point because Mike would never. She tells me she tried calling Mike all day, but he said he had a date and hasn't come home yet. I asked her, but wasn't that sort of okay between you two? She sovereignly tells me, yes, that was sort of the deal, but she hasn't been able to go on a single date with a guy as of yet because she was so busy at work being back on now, and Mike just went out with a date as if she meant nothing. That he hadn't disclosed any details to her, which as far as I know was part of the deal. That they didn't want to know any details, and that she felt like he was ridiculing her. So she's back to work. She's busy, so she hasn't a whole lot of time to go out with other dudes. But this guy, because they're supposed to be an open relationship, open marriage, he goes out on a date, and she has a meltdown. This was her idea. He didn't want to do this, but it was her idea. And he goes out on one date, and she's imagining Lord knows what's going on, and she has the meltdown, and he's the bad guy here. You got to be out of your damn mind. Does this sound familiar, guys? Does this sound familiar to other stories I've done over the last year and a half about these whole open marriage scenarios? It continues. I didn't really know what to say and just told her, well, honey, I think you just reap what you sowed, honestly. That's a very blunt, straightforward thing to say. She was furious with me and screamed at me for being an awful friend to her, that I should understand how she feels. I kept quiet, but honestly, I think she's just upset that her husband is doing what she proposed in the first place. I haven't talked to Mike yet, but am I the a-hole? No, you're not the a-hole. You said the obvious. This was her idea. She made her bed. Now she has to lie in it, okay? He's only doing what she brought up, and she's pissed off because he beat her to it. Mark my words, if she wasn't as busy as she claimed, and was out on dates and having a roll in the hay with different guys, she wouldn't be nearly as upset. But because he's beating her to it, she's losing her damn mind. And also, even if she was out with other dudes doing the open marriage thing, having a roll in the hay, I guarantee you the second he started, because she knew darn well it was easy. It's easy for a woman to get guys. And I'm also willing to bet you that she probably already had some dudes lined up already that were interested in her, and she knew were a sure thing. But instead of actually cheating, she brought up the idea of the open marriage, open relationship, and that way then, technically, she's not cheating. And that way she can have her cake and eat it too. But he goes out and does it, and she throws a hissy fit. And then there's these minor updates here, and says, I spoke with Mike just now. He said he had an awesome night, but came home to Bella screaming at him, and is feeling incredibly guilty and confused now. He'll come by afterwards to talk. She had the nerve to scream at this guy. Weren't those the ground rules? They were allowed to go on a date. She's throwing a hissy fit. And remember how she mentioned about how she feels? It's all about how women feel, guys. Even though logically, you're the one that said you brought this up. It was your idea. But it doesn't matter. It's about how she feels. And that's the pass that a lot of them play. And this guy, because he's obviously, I mean, good for him for saying, hey, fine, I'm going out and I'm going to hook up. But he's feeling guilty now and confused. Not a whole lot to be confused about. She's selfish. You beat her to it. End of story. This guy should end it with her. Because the second this is brought up, like I said, brought up the whole open marriage thing, it's over with. Unless you two are both into a freaky lifestyle and both on the same page, it's over. And the fact that she has the nerve to scream and yell at him, you gotta be shitting me. Another little update. Some people have asked for an update, but there's not much to tell right now. Mike crashed at my couch for the night. We talked everything through, and I told him I was on his side and dissuaded him of his confusion a little. I told him I thought Bella was being a hypocrite, and they really need to talk things through. This guy was sleeping on her couch. Actually, I don't know if this writer here, this author, is a he or a she. It's not really clear. But the point is, he left his house. Now, granted, I wouldn't be around some screaming, tirading woman either. But still, the fact he left the house, or did she kick him out? I gotta wonder. He says, I told him I thought Bella was being a hypocrite, and they really need to talk this through. Unfortunately, Bella isn't talking to either of us right now. I've asked her sister to please go talk to her, and she just texted me, Bella is being dumb as hell right now. So everybody knows this Bella chick is a jackass. She says, I hope they'll be able to have a proper conversation tomorrow. Mike isn't doing all that well with this, understandably. So that ends that story part. Now, I'm going to go through a whole bunch of funny comments people left in the comment section, because I'm not the only one saying, what the hell's wrong with this chick? And of course, this author had every right to say what she said, because, again, everybody here knows that this woman, this Bella chick, is a jackass. Okay? And this guy, unfortunately, this guy is so weak and so worn down. The reason she brought this up in the first place, because she knew she could get away with it. She didn't respect her guy. She certainly didn't love him. And she saw him as weak. And now he's confused and upset. No. This woman doesn't love you. She doesn't give a shit. And she's an asshole. Let's be honest here. Now, here are a few comments. One guy says, honestly, just sounds like she wanted to have you-know-what with whoever that she wanted, but didn't want to have you-know-what with anyone else. Or didn't want him to have you-know-what with anyone else. Didn't want to lose him by cheating, so it became an open relationship. Ridiculous. Yes, that's what I said. She wanted to hook up with other dudes. There were other guys in the picture, guaranteed. But instead of, cheating, and then she's the bad guy, open relationship, then she's free to do what she wants, and she's not cheating. This is very well planned out. Another guy comments, she didn't expect him to actually sleep with other people. She just wanted to sleep with others without being considered cheating. She's really ridiculous, and I'm on Mike's side for this one. She wanted an open relationship, so that's what she got. Right. Another one says, yeah, when I first read that Bella was proposing the open relationship, I figured the result would be a divorce or an affair disguised as an open relationship. The fact that she got this upset over Mike going out with the deal speaks volumes about how much, or rather how little, Bella actually cares about their marriage. The original poster is definitely not an a-hole for calling Bella out there. Right. I totally agree with the person who wrote this thing. They have a right to say that. And yeah, she doesn't give a crap about the marriage. It's just about what he can provide, nothing more. Another guy says, seems spot on. She knew she had less experience. Oh, she knew he had less experience, had dated less, and not been invested as she was. She expected him to sit at home and not actually go out on much dates, much less sleep with anyone. She thought she'd get a great deal here where she gets to sleep around and have a faithful husband. Instead of the opposite is happening. All right. So, for many of you guys that still want to get married out there, keep in mind of all the ugly things that go on in this world and how, in a way, it's almost like it's being promoted nowadays with the gals. Another guy says, be careful what you ask for. You might as well get it. Your friend felt unfulfilled and wanted someone to meet her needs. She never considered that an open marriage with both spouses are free to go elsewhere. She said he cheated, but he did no such thing. It isn't cheating in an open marriage. Your friend's reality check just bounced. Not the a-hole. And last one says, not the a-hole. He didn't cheat on her. They have an agreement. She did indeed reap what she sowed and doesn't like it because it didn't go her way. She didn't want to hear from you, but unless you have some sort of agreement where you tell her only what she wants to hear and are blindly on her side all the time, no matter how little sense it makes, she's going to have to take the L here. Right. So my advice in this situation, if these people were contacting me, not that they were, is that I would kick Bella to the curb. This friend who's telling the story, I would have anything to do with this chick because she's just a complete jackass. And this guy, whoosh, over, move on, because it's only going to get worse. She's selfish. She's a jackass. She's narcissistic. Get rid of her. Move on. The guy's only 28. He's got his whole life ahead of him. He may get hammered and divorced, but it's certainly a lot better than being married to this. But I would hope he'd have a better screening process in the future if he were to go down this path again. But I'm sure he'll probably think twice about that. And even if he gets divorced and gets hammered in the divorce process, men can move on. We can rebuild. It doesn't take a whole lot to make us happy as long as we're free. So I wish this guy the best. But anyhow, guys, once again, showing you a little story about the whole open marriage proposal. And it's totally fine when the woman proposes it. But the second the guy is actually partaking in it, then he's the bad guy and she has a meltdown. How many stories have you heard like this? Unbelievable. Anyhow, guys, that is it for today. I thought you'd find that entertaining and interesting. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.